Here's another ultra tiny Joule Thief I made. It's just a blue LED with some very tiny parts attached to it, and I can power it directly off of a single LR44 button cell. So let me first show you where this came from, with the whole idea for this. I was salvaging some parts off of a computer motherboard, and I wanted to get the LEDs out of the Ethernet port here. So when I ripped it open, lo and behold, there's all these little tiny itty bitty ferrite cores with wire wrapped around it. These are actually the isolation transformers and the common mode chokes for the Ethernet connections. So I decided to very carefully try to take them off, and after a little bit of practice I got a few of them off without totally destroying the wires. On the ones that I did ruin, I took off the wires entirely, and just so I could get a picture of the ferrite core itself, and you can see how small it is on a ruler here with 1/10 of an inch for each marking. And here's the one that I actually used. It actually has 3 coils on there, the clear enamel insulation and red insulation and green insulation. I tied together 2 of those coils and left the other one by itself, so I have a 1:2 ratio. And I decided to do something like this, where I put the Joule Thief circuit on a 5mm ordinary size LED, and that was inspired by this web page right here, where this guy made very clearly stated not a Joule Thief, because he doesn't actually use a ferrite core and a discrete transistor. He actually uses this thing, the ZXSC380 little LED driver IC, just power, ground, and output, and it needs a 100 microhenry inductor in like that. But I wanted to make something like this, where I have the Joule Thief circuit in line with the LED, just mounted right below the plastic lens, and then some fairly long leads to put a battery on it. So that's what I did. I cut one of the leads off and put a transistor on there, and this is the markings on it were 1AM, which is actually a 2N3904 surface mount equivalent. And the resistor, very tiny. I'm not exactly sure what size it is, but you can see it here on the 1/100th scale on the ruler, 1/100th of an inch. And here it is, all the parts connected. There's one side of it, flip it over, there's the other side of it. And oh yeah, that green thing right there, you might think it's an inductor. It's not. It's actually a 1 kiloohm precision and 1/8 watt resistor, and I just have that there for mechanical support to support the positive lead of the LED Joule Thief assembly. So it basically looks like an ordinary blue LED, except that it has all this Joule Thief circuitry mounted right underneath it. But the leads, I wanted to keep them the same size and structure as if it was an unaltered LED. So put a LR44 on it, and it worked beautifully. I'm proud to say it worked the first time. As soon as I hooked up the battery on it, it really worked well. And there's some other views of it. Looks pretty good. So here's the circuit. There's all the parts. You can see how I have the negative terminal of the LED going through the ferrite core, just barely fit in there with all the other wires sticking through it. And the 1 kiloohm resistor has very minimum effect, almost no effect at all on the function of the circuit. It's strictly there just so I have a wire sticking out the back of it, and I don't really upset the very fine wires of the toroid. Once I got it all finished, in order to protect the very fragile wire of the toroid, I put some hot glue all around it, keep it all together, And there's one last shot with it actually working with all the hot glue on it. And I think it's nice how the blue light actually, some of the blue light goes back and illuminates the hot glue as well, makes the whole thing light up. So there you go. That's my super tiny Joule Thief that I made. If you want to do the same, if you want to make very tiny Joule Thieves as well, then I highly recommend cracking open some old computers. This particular motherboard was from 2006, so I'm not really sure if these discrete toroids would be inside Ethernet connectors these days. They might have some kind of prefabricated surface mount package with everything already neatly inside, but I'm not really sure. It's worth a shot. To, if you have any old clunkers laying around, just peel back the metal shield and see what's inside, and then you might find some super small toroids to make a classical Joule Thief that's also super small. See you later.